This is a test of the emergency broadcast system.
Welcome to the Dan and Kev Show.
Hello, yes, and welcome to the Dan and Kev Show. I am, of course, Dan.
And I am Kev.
And we have the lovely Will here with us today, also known as MC Hammersmith. Hi, Will. How are you?
Yo. What's up, motherfuckers? Am I allowed to swear, by the way? Is that okay?
Yes, you can swear.
Yes, you can swear. Check right before this call. That's good to know. Otherwise, we've tanked the entire interview. That's good. Yeah.
I could always bleep it out in certain places.
No, we could put explicit on this on Spotify. It's fine.
Maybe.
Oh, okay. Of course we can. We are a freeform podcast. I said just before we went, I said anything goes. So there you go. Anything has gone.
You did.
You see, people say that, but then I say motherfucker, and people get upset and offended, and then families are bringing their kids out of the gig, or all this stuff. I've crossed this bridge before. It's not gone well, but good to know. Good to know.
Not at all. I mean, we're not offended. We're absolutely fine with any and all content, except maybe certain content, but yes. So yes, welcome to the show. Thank you very much for taking the time out of your schedule to join us. I mean, what is your schedule generally? Is it your main job? I mean, you must have a main job, and then you do sort of stuff on the side.
Yeah, I mean, so until the pandemic hit, maybe like 6 months to a year before I started doing comedy seriously, I helped run a Harry Potter tour company in the centre of Edinburgh. And did that for a long time. And my side hustle for ages was doing improvised raps on stage as MC Hammersmith before I put any content out there online. I was just purely on the stand-up and cabaret circuit. And yeah, doing improvised comedy with my improv team, which is called the Spontaneous Players, touring a show called Spontaneous Potter. So yeah, I was making up dick jokes in rhyme and dressing as a wizard in various guises for a long time.
That's
Spontaneous. Spontaneous Potter. Yeah, that sounds quite interesting. You know,
it's a lot of fun. It's myself and some of my best friends. So we're based in Edinburgh all year round, and it's an adult show. We take, which is something we have to be very clear about.
On the posters, adult content.
Yeah. Just slapping 16 plus on the front of the posters, and yet still during the Edinburgh Fringe Festival, people will bring their children. We have found, unless we are explicitly clear about it. We take a title from the audience of a Harry Potter book that doesn't exist, for instance. Harry Potter and the Snapes on the Plane, or Harry Potter and the Chamber of Commerce, or Harry Potter and the struggle for a decent mortgage in today's economy. And then we improvise that on stage together for an hour with a live band. And it's, we were touring that to some fun venues right up until the pandemic. And now, our first venue at the time of recording, June 2021, is in 2 weeks' time in the south of England. We're very excited to get back on the wagon. So that was the schedule, to answer your question, was doing, gigs, etc., basically full-time. And then, started making online content during the pandemic. And I'm looking forward to things slowly easing back to normal at a glacial pace.
It sounds very Whose Lines It Anyway. Is that the sort of vibe you're going for?
Sure, that tends to be most people's first point of reference for improv. Exactly, it's exactly like that, except all the scenes connect in what we call long-form improv to form a narrative overarching. So yeah, basically an entire show based on only one suggestion. Yeah.
Wow, okay.
Lovely.
So how long would
How long would a show be? The festival show, an hour, but when we've toured it to theatres and stuff, we can do 2 hours with an interval. Ultimately, we keep going until people ask us to stop. We could
they kick you out.
Go until people become collectively bored. But yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
So there is 97,000 followers on your TikTok at the moment. How long have you been on TikTok for? Yeah, just give us a bit of background about that.
Yes, this is how we connected. I presume this is how I presume you slid into the Instagram DMs. Originally, was through TikTok. I put an old video up there a couple of weeks ago, and it seemed to pop off quite a bit. I've uploaded 5 videos. I think the first one I uploaded when I got TikTok, maybe like a year ago. I uploaded one in November and then just didn't touch it for months and months and months. And the video of me rapping in a car, people seem to have responded well to, which is very humbling. But yeah, it was the day I got the notification from TikTok saying you can upload 3-minute videos instead of the old 1-minute limit. I leapt on that like a rat up a drain pipe. I was straight in there. And most of the Yeah, and a lot of the comments were very nice, and people saying, fairly nice things, but loads of them were saying, why is this so long? Which I think only boosts the algorithm. So it's good to have gone viral out of confusion, if nothing else. I've been on for about a year, but I'm now making more content for TikTok. Now I realize I can do longer form stuff, which is, tentatively exciting.
Yeah, it's an amazing platform, and I think don't underestimate what you just said. You've had over 2 million views on that specific post.
Yes. Yeah, so, it's quite extraordinary.
And quite a lot of likes, over 300,000 likes on that post. So that is a hell of an achievement there. Don't underplay that. That is very good for TikTok.
Thank you. Yeah, it's nice. It's nice to know that people respond well to me just, rhyming cock jokes in my car when I really did it to amuse myself, if nothing else. So it's good to know people are connecting. Quite humbling.
Was you just bored by any chance?
Yes, completely. Honestly, 100%. The first time I produced any scripted content for YouTube or social media, whatever, was in the first month of the pandemic when so I was living in the centre of Edinburgh. All the other apartments in my block of apartments were all empty Airbnbs. So I was living in a building by myself. It was really quite horrifying. Out of boredom and also to chase the voices away, I just collected a bunch of bars and lyrics that I had collated and written for my own amusement into one video, and I thought nothing of it, and that seemed to do quite well. And that inspired me to just make more. So it's totally come out of a lack of better things to do, really.
Amazing. So that gives me the Edinburgh link. That honestly answers a question. So I'm looking at your Instagram, and there was Edinburgh and London links. I'm like, how the hell is he traveling up and down the country? He says he's MC Hammersmith.
He's everywhere.
He lives there and not in Edinburgh. So are you predominantly in London now?
I'm everywhere like the wind. I am from Hammersmith in West London. I was born in Hammersmith in Queen Charlotte's Hospital. But then when I turned 18, I escaped. I came to the University of Edinburgh to study linguistics. And then I just stuck around and not lived in London since then. So I've been here nearly 12 years now. I love Edinburgh. It's beautiful. The people are much nicer than the people of West London. I don't think it's contentious to say. It's just a much more wholesome quality of life at my sort of pace of things up here. And obviously it's great for comedy. It's a beautiful comedy scene up here. It's great for improvisation. There's a lovely improv community here. And it's, I've just found my footing here. My friends are here. My life is here. My comedy is here. It's, I don't see myself moving anytime soon, as much as I have a soft spot for Hammersmith. And another reason for labeling myself as MC Hammersmith and just putting that out there is the optics of somebody like me, a middle-class, privately educated guy doing hip-hop, could be uncomfortable in the wrong hands. And I think the only way, personally, to extract comedy from it in a wholesome way is to label it as a premise straight up early doors. I know who I am. I realize this is where I'm from. I know how I sound. I don't sound Scottish. I sound like I'm Edinburgh born and bred. Exactly. I can't hide from the posh private school wanker I've been raised as. So I might as well lean into it and acknowledge it and make myself the butt of all the jokes, or at least attempt to. So that's the confusing reason for my existence. There you go.
That's interesting.
I have to take your word. I have to take your word for living in Edinburgh. I've never been. I don't know if Dan has, but I've never been to Edinburgh. So that's certainly a trip I need to do on one occasion.
So I've been.
You've been to when was that recently?
Well,
no, it was when I was actually 21. I'm old now, so
I've always wanted to go.
How old are you, Will? I need to ask how old Will is.
I'm on the cusp of turning 30. And I was going to say, you don't look a day over 22. Good for you, man. Good for you.
That's good. I'll take that.
What, Dan?
Don't
take that, Dan. I don't believe that at all. Dan is nearly approaching 40.
I'm eating it for breakfast.
Yes. You're nearly pushing 40. Well, you look about half the age. Good for you, man.
It's the Marvel top. Yeah, it's giving it away as a young man, you see. Yeah, he likes Marvel. He must be 20 odd.
You know what? That's how it's done. If you want to look not approaching middle age, just dress as a 12-year-old. Good for you, mate. Good for you. The other thing about Edinburgh, by the way, on the subject of Edinburgh, is normally we'd have the Edinburgh Fringe Festival every August. And this August, again, at time of recording, it doesn't look like any more than a dozen shows are going ahead tentatively. But I mean, who knows? But if you get the chance, you guys must come up to Edinburgh for the Fringe Festival. It's
I'd love
the biggest. It's the biggest party in the world. It's the biggest party in the world, honestly. They've got comedy, theatre, music, magic, street shows that start at 7 in the morning, shows that go till 3 in the morning. It really is like quite a staggering experience. I recommend
And you're
it.
actually performing in the festival as well, aren't you?
Yes, so I was doing live shows way before I was putting stuff online, and the live shows that I would do is using sort of my training and basis and experience as an improviser is I would take suggestions from the crowd and then turn them into improvised hip hop tracks live on stage. So I take suggestions, write them down, turn them all into an improvised story sort of thing. I'll try and woo members of the audience using freestyle rap. I'll take their stories and then turn them into hip hop tracks using auto-tune, looping, that sort of thing. So yeah, it's been a lot of fun to have attempted to do that through Zoom gigs online over the pandemic and to keep that sort of spirit going. But yeah, I did my first indoor gig last Saturday at the Monkey Row Comedy Club here in Edinburgh. And that was so much fun, but so weird to be able to do gags to human beings and there'd be no lag or latency over Zoom. Like they were just responding back and forth. It was, really quite eye-opening and bizarre.
How did you find that? Being
that leads on to one of our next questions. Go on. I'm getting lag here. I'm getting lag. Online gag.
You keep cutting
This
me
is
up, Dan.
the exact thing I don't miss about.
This is the problem with Zoom. I keep like you silent and then I jump in and then you go, hello there. I'm like, okay, you go first, Kev. That's fine. This is the whole thing about.
We did say we'll go back and forth.
Of course.
I was just going to say,
your turn.
How did you find performing over Zoom? As obviously so used to a live crowd, how do you find that?
It's odd, you don't realize how much you invest in like the 1 second of lag and latency when you will gag and then you think it's getting nothing and then just your entire ego crumbles before your eyes and then it gets the merest titter of mirth immediately afterwards and suddenly you're built back up to where you were before. It really is an emotional roller coaster. The hardest thing for me was just trying to make the audio work over Zoom. This might be quite a boring statement to go into, but like Zoom is not built for music. It's not built for gigs. And like it took me months to figure out how to get a proper mixer, run it through OBS, have all the sound settings right for Zoom to make it sound good. And then you factor that in to trying to make that work with corporate gigs over Microsoft Teams, over Remo. I didn't even know what that was, over Skype, Google Meets. Yeah, it was difficult, hard work. But yeah, I think I just got to the stage by the end of lockdown where I'd figured it out. And now I think I've already done my last Zoom gig and it's good to be here, just slowly crawling over the finish line, just about having my shit together.
Just about, so close.
So yeah, weird. Yeah.
It leads sort of on to my next sort of bit, really. It's an almost posh Eminem style, isn't it? It's just described as with the rapping, and you can do it off the cuff so well. Would you be able to do it for us here today? And if when you're finished, could you give us some tips? And then we're going to attempt to do our own version to you.
Oh, amazing. I love it. Now, had I known this was going to happen, I would have set up a mixer, etc. And then I guarantee with all my backing beats, your entire podcast would have gotten stricken off for copyright and removed off Spotify. And
so we don't need backbeat. Do we need a backbeat?
No, I'll be fine. I'll make my own beat. I'll tell you what, could you give me, why don't we say something classic? Could you give me 5 random words just off the top of my head? I'll do a quick 1-minute freestyle acapella.
Right, go on, Dan.
Words you would not normally find in a hip hop song.
You give 2, Dan, and I'll give 2, and then we'll.
Random words. Blue.
I love how we have started with low stakes with a monosyllabic word. I love it. Brilliant. Feel free to make
my favorite color. I just thought of that. I was like, yeah. Blue.
Right, I'm going sausage.
Sausage, I love it. I love it. A classic staple of the genre. And feel free to choose maybe like a long word, even longer you wouldn't normally find in a hip hop song, places, people, celebrities, literally anything. Feel free to throw them in. Go as wild or as off the chain.
Wild as we want. That's crazy. Yeah. So we got 2 so far. Then we've got blue and sausage. Kev. You're normally quite good at this.
I've got one. Landscaping.
I love it. Also, it must be said, I love a routine that takes longer to set up than it does to perform, but this is going very well. I'll take 2 more words.
We need to be quick.
Architect.
I love it. Okay.
One more, Dan.
And geeks.
and
There you go.
geeks.
Geeks.
Okay, fantastic. Right. This is how it happens. 1, 2, 1, 2. So people in the place, I be rapping and flexing. Improvised hip hop here for Dan and for Kevin. Cause when I'm on the mic, everybody goes boom. The sickest motherfucker you've ever heard on Zoom. When I'm on the mic, I bring that thunder. Every time I do, I'm that rap concussor. Yeah, off the top, fam, you know it, it's true. I say I'll leave these whack rappers feeling sad and fucking blue. Grab the microphone with the stars that I beg. I'm saying this rap here is sponsored by Greg's. How is that the case? Let me hold you hostage, cause I be on a roll like a motherfucking sausage. Rah, off the top, you know it's insane. Now let me tell you this off the top of the brain. These whack freestylers, you know I'm not handshaking, but I lay it down like a motherfucking landscaping. Yeah, one time, the sickest in the place. If these rappers try to step to me, get out of my face. You know when I do it, these freestyles I'm killing. Yes, I construct this like a fucking building. And when I'm on the mic, you know I spit the true shit. Back to the first suggestion, we need a fucking blueprint to understand how I do it when I flex. I say when I'm on it, I'm a lyrical architect. It's been a pleasure to do this. Yes, as I spit this. Has this been wicked for one more fucking minute? I don't really know. Yeah, this is sublime. It's been over a minute. Yeah, we've gone over time. But this is how it happens with the styles I send. I'll take this freestyle and bring it to an end. To know that when I'm on it, you know it's too sweet. A pledge to rap here for these two fucking geeks.
Boom.
Wow,
Please
that's
do
amazing.
geek. And the geeks is definitely true. With the Marvel and the gaming and shit
Good to know.
that we
Very
listen
good
to.
to know. Yeah, I've got the measure of you guys. I think I've got the measure.
Oh, easily,
You've got the measure, the easy
Geeks and-
measure,
Geeks and
like
beer.
my gin.
Well, yeah, Dan's drinking. I haven't got a beer yet, but I will do later.
Good for
No,
you. mate.
I
Good for you.
like a quick gin, you know. It's what I enjoy in my older age.
Good for you. But now it is apparently my turn to try and put you through the mangle of this lyrical obstacle course.
Oh,
Apparently
God,
so.
this is going to be so embarrassing.
What's the best tips? Because I'm probably going to be shit at this. I'll be honest with you.
I mean, look, if you are just starting out, my wholesome advice would be not to worry about if it rhymes or not. In the first few years of me practicing this by myself and just teaching myself, none of it would rhyme. I wouldn't be able to go for longer than 30 seconds a minute at a time. And if occasionally I did land a rhyme, I would get very excited, hype myself up and go, that was amazing. And then it would all immediately fall apart. So I would say, don't worry about it rhyming. Just get confident speaking over a beat until you can do that indefinitely. And if things happen to rhyme, then that is fine. And a more technical term and technical piece of advice is you'll notice that, or you might have noticed sometimes I set up the rhymes and will rhyme off the word, say that word beforehand, and then land the target word after it. So that's, I call that spiking, like from volleyball. Every setup needs a spike, every spike needs a setup. So yeah, that's something to try if you can, but basically don't worry about it. I don't know, are you going to do this together over Zoom with the lag and latency?
Should we try? Should we go back and forth? Should we give that a go?
I was going to just do my version and then you do your version, and I'm just going to sort of see. I don't know if we can do it together. It just unless you want to try that might completely balls it up. You know.
Again, I love a routine that takes longer to set up than it does to execute. This is amazing. Dan, why don't you go for it first? Dan, when you go for it first.
So I mean, how long do I need to do this for? Like you had over a minute.
It's your fucking show. I don't really mind.
As long as you want that.
It's the Dan Kev Show.
Yeah. I tell you what, Dan, how about just set ourselves the goal of a few lines rapping about, since you're wearing that beautiful child-sized t-shirt, Marvel. How about rapping about Marvel for an indefinitely short amount of time? Go for it.
I'm wearing a Marvel shirt. I like it so good. It's Iron Man, Thor, and Hulk. This is it. This is where I crack up.
See, that is what we call in the rap game, Dan, a verbal cul-de-sac.
It is a verbal cul-de-sac because I'm shit at it, and you've had many years of practice, I'm sure. We've got Will on here. He's had so many years of practice. We look like tits, and we're wearing Marvel shirts. I'm watching the Euros. Although it's on mute, Portugal are doing good, and Ronaldo's getting old. Sod it. I'm trying my best on the Dan and Kev show. Way! Let's go for it, Kev. Oh, that was...
I enjoyed that.
I
enjoyed that. Don DeMarco. Mic drop. That's fucking amazing. Good work.
Kev, it's your turn to embarrass yourself now.
God. All right, what do you want me to rap about?
Just rap about, I tell you what, why don't you rap about what thing you're watching in the background instead of focusing on this podcast right now?
Yeah, so I looked around.
All right. Okay. Dan's Dan's watching football. He thinks he's cool. He's talking about Marvel, but it ain't old school. He's talking about going to read some more comics, but actually, I don't know where I'm going with this rhyme. So I'm going to start again and bring it back to the top because I don't know, like low-key, I'm a bit, I've lost it. So I'm going to go back again.
Congratulations. I enjoyed that. Lovely flow. What I loved about it was so self-aware, was self-referential, and he did the exact same thing that I talked about, which is landing one rhyme, being very excited, and then panicking in the middle with a huge fucking grin on your face. That's the way to do it, man. Fail nobly and honorably. I love that. That was brilliant. Good work.
You must have failed many times yourself.
Yes. And may I say, by the way, when I say failure, I do not mean it as an insult. So in improvisation, we say there are no mistakes. There are just signposts to the next opportunity. It's an art form built on failure. And if we accept that there will be fuck ups, we say we're always at home to Mr. Fuck Up. If we accept it, then we can take whatever we're doing, whether it's the scene we're improvising, the rap, the song, whatever, we can take it to an unexpected place if we double down, if we yes and we accept that this is happening. If we tell ourselves that this is dreadful and we hate it and we wish we were curling up and leaving the stage and showing the audience we're having a bad time, then that's harder for everyone to get behind. But the interesting thing about doing it freestyle and practicing it is you have to yes and yourself. And I've been lucky enough to improvise in groups for years now, and you have your friends to bounce off and they can make you look good and support you and say yes to your ideas. But when it's you just doing it by yourself, you have to, it's not just enough to commit, you have to recommit. And that's the mental obstacle course it is. But I thought you guys did great. Well done.
And I think that's why they love you so much, Will, because you're coming across as like the posh, gentleman man. And we always expect, the gangsters and the spliff smoking and the whole
ganja
riffraff, so to speak, doing the rapping, so to speak. But you come from a background of, I'm well educated, come from Hammersmith. I'm in Edinburgh now. I'm a comedian. I get on stage and I do this. So you give me 5 words, I'll rap for you straight away. I need a beat. But it's all good. I mean, I just don't understand what got you into it in the first place.
I mean, to take my sort of wholesome spin on what you've said and sort of spin it into an answer for that question. Yes, the voice I have and the background that I have been raised in is not what a lot of people would traditionally associate hip hop to be associated with, and the tropes that, again, people stereotype or conventionally think like is there. I totally see where you're coming from. And yes, what got me into it was, first of all, a love for hip hop. And I've always loved hip hop since a young age. I was bumping Acapella when I was 11. Obviously a fucking white boy over here, loved Eminem, was spitting those raps as fast as I could when I was a kid in the playground. And then, as I grew older and started to broaden my hip hop tastes, my favorite rapper is a guy called Big L. I don't know if you've heard of him. So he is from Harlem, New York. He passed away in the late 90s. And he was the punchline king, very lyrical, some razor sharp wordplay and flow. And just a love for that. And seeing other freestylers like MC Supernatural and MC Juice, two of the most famous freestylers of all time, seeing what they were able to do and knowing that they were just doing improv underneath it. And the kind of improv that I'd been doing, but obviously significantly cooler to a factor of 1,000, made me realize, you can actually do this and make it up and it'd be good and something that people want to see. And I was in a improv troupe at the time called Men with Coconuts that I'm still a part of, shout out to them. We were making up improvised musicals at the time, and I wanted to do an improvised hip hop show, but none of them wanted to do it with me. So I sort of said, well, fuck you guys, I'm going to go do it by myself. And there was nobody else in Edinburgh doing improvised musicals at the time. There was certainly nobody doing improvised rap in Scotland as a comedic performance that I was aware of, and I don't think there are any others now that I'm aware of. It's just a love of hip hop from a young age, and seeing that it can be combined with the improv I've been doing since I came up here, basically.
So cool. That is so cool.
Speaking of which, though, if you want to see the coolest, if you want to see the coolest example of it, go to YouTube and type in MC Supernatural, MC Juice rap battle and find the full audio of that battle. That is when rap battles weren't as scripted as they usually are now. They were done on beat, whereas now most rap battle happens a cappella. So this was to a beat, trying to improvise a freestyle rap battle against each other. This was in front of thousands of people. It was a huge, like, mind-blowing event at the time. And some of the lines they were able to improvise against each other are utterly staggering. And yeah, I think that's one of the greatest examples of a freestyle performance you'll be able to find online still to this day. Yeah, sorry, Kev, go for it.
I'm just getting used to the lag here. It's quite interesting, actually. It's a bit of fun. Yeah, so obviously you mentioned the improv group, or many groups you're part of. I've got lots of comedy idols. My biggest one is Robin Williams, and I know he started off his career in improv groups.
Sure.
And I just wondered what sort of made you get into. Well, it's a two question. Would you say is your idol in terms of comedy, and what made you get into comedy as well as a side hustle to the rapping?
Well, that's a good question. So in terms of idols for comedy, in an improv sense, the two biggest like idols I always looked up to who are comedians who I would see doing other stuff, who also had a grounding in improv and still do it, would be Tina Fey and Amy Poehler. I think they're bloody amazing. And Amy Poehler set up the Upright Citizens Brigade, the UCB, a massive improv theatre in New York, an institution, along with three others. And yeah, so when I was a teenager, the way I got into it was at high school. Weirdly, the drama department had an improv teacher. He taught like an improv club on the side. Shout out Mr. Benyon if you're listening. And yeah, like that was my first exposure to it. And I remember like walking into a room at 14 and being able very fleetingly, very briefly, and this was a very fleeting experience, making a room full of people laugh, which was in stark contrast to my previous experiences in rooms full of people. So it really helped me like come out of my shell socially. I used to be a very awkward child and awkward teenager, but that really helped me, connect with people because it is a social art form. And yeah, find my footing and find my personality, almost in a sense. And that's what got me into it. So it wasn't really absorbing like it's another media, apart from Whose Line Is It Anyway, obviously, which was iconic at the time and still is. But yeah, I did a lot of improv classes in America, in Chicago, New York, and the theatre where Tina Fey and Amy Poehler first met at the IO Theatre, Improv Olympic, now sadly a victim of the pandemic. But yeah, that sort of cultural heritage is huge in America, whereas improv, not so much a done thing here. So yeah, just seeing how it's done in America, and that sort of vibe has been, inspiring to learn from. And yeah, I'm hoping that, the UK right now is going through somewhat of an improv explosion. You've got teams like the Showstopper, who won an Olivier Award on the West End. They're a huge improvised musical team. You've got Ostentatious, who are an improvised Jane Austen show. They're also on the West End at the Fortune Theatre, I believe, and touring all throughout the UK. There's improv festivals popping up everywhere. There's new improv theatres happening as well. So yeah, you'll be seeing a lot more improv, I think, on TV and on Netflix, a lot more in the next 5 to 10 years. I seriously think it's an exploding art form currently.
Great.
Excellent. That's amazing. I love all that. You went to New York yourself, a few times then?
Yes, Chicago, New York. It's Second City, Chicago, UCB, which are three of the bigger improv theaters there. And yeah, they really break you down as a person and build you back up, because the improv we are traditionally taught in Britain is more performative and showy and less connected and theatrical. And I think the best improv shows are ones where you have moments of comedy and you have an unusual thing that heightens and you have things that make it seem like a sketch. But you also have the more slow burn, considered theatrical Chicago style, where there is actual pathos, there's emotion, and it's a fully rounded 3D story as well as just, a bunch of people making gags up. Yeah, those are the best shows for me. And I like to think we do that in Spontaneous Potter with this thin veil of wizarding on the top of it. Yeah, that's the aim and goal, at least. Yes.
Tell
There's
us more
me
about
trying
this.
to do a spell.
Tell us more about this Spontaneous Potter. I'm really intrigued by this. How does it work? What did you guys do?
Yeah, that's a great question. So again, all we do is we just take a title from the audience of a book that doesn't exist, and then we just make it up. There is zero structure, zero preparation, zero planning. Interestingly, Oh, by the way, we always set it in their 6th year. So we're not children, we are 16-year-olds. That is so that enough things have happened in the canon that we can reference them. So we're not, in our first year referencing the Goblet of Fire, but also so they are 16 years old, and so they are teenagers and we can have the typical fan fiction tropes of of love stories happening, that sort of thing, and handle it carefully in a way that isn't, crass and ridiculous. But we have a member of the team, a guy called Stu Murphy, who has never read the books or seen the films, and we've actively told him never read them or watch them because we think it's very funny, and we tell the audience that at the top of the show. And his first show with us, I said Avada Kedavra towards him, and he went, I don't know what the fuck that means, and we had to call an interval, and I had to go, right, we're gonna go backstage and explain that to him, and then we'll come back and reconvene. And then it was lights up again, and I went Avada Kedavra. He went, oh, I'm dead, I understand now. And then early in that show, we endowed him to cast a spell, and he obviously doesn't know a single spell from Harry Potter, so he just went, ooh, arthritis. So I think playing with those sort of tropes are fun, taking it to places you wouldn't expect. We've had, I can't even remember the top of my head, notable things we've had. We've had like Voldemort being killed by being run over by a milk float. I'm just thinking of things at the top of my head that we've had recently. We've had Snape becoming the headmaster of Hogwarts, turning it into a barhead travel. We've had just mapping the ridiculous onto such a well-established narrative. I think is what we enjoy. Definitely
amazing. The background and the comedy and the mixture of comedy with rapping, it just seems like two completely separate things, and you've sort of amalgamated it into one with your performances, which is amazing. So you should link me up with some of the and other people as well. I'll ask anyway how people can obviously find you and your content as well. Is it like if you want to give your Instagram and YouTube channel?
Brilliant. Thanks so much. I am. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, let me just haul myself out to the internet. Here we go. Yes, I am. I'm MC Hammersmith on all socials. Just type MC Hammersmith in. You'll find me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, and. Yes, if you want to follow the aforementioned improvised wizarding improv team, we are the Spontaneous Players touring Spontaneous Potter all around the UK. In theory, if this global bastard doesn't fuck us over, for the next year, basically, up until the end of 2022. So we'll definitely be a few UK based coming to a town or city near you at some point, 100%.
I'm definitely optimistic about the pandemic, especially after Boris's stuff. We're not completely going into some sort of lockdown again. We can have weddings and all sorts and still do what we want to do after May the 17th, but it's just keeping an eye on it and make sure you get your jab and all sorts. And
have you had your jab yet?
I call me cautiously pessimistic, but we'll fucking see, won't we? Yes, I am. This would have revealed my age. Anyway, I had my first jab of the Moderna jab yesterday, and. Yeah, I know, very, very fancy. And I won't lie, this podcast has been a pleasure, but also a real cognitive struggle. I'm really feeling the effects of it. So thank you guys for helping me through it.
You're going to sleep after this.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's been, I didn't expect it to knock me this hard, but I'm doing well. You are doing very well. And that was a decent rap, and I was crap, and Kev was a little bit better than me, I think. I don't know, I think you did quite well. Incredible. I think you both did very well. And thank you. It was amazing I was able to string any sentences together given the brain fog I'm currently experiencing. So this is, a pleasure. And thank you guys.
I'd love to come and see you live as part of Spontaneous Potters. If you come to London or anywhere, we're just 20 minutes in London. So I'd love.
Oh, brilliant. Where are you guys based? Are you in a satellite town outside London? This is getting a bit
We're in Stevenage.
It's not Stevenage. Your location today.
No, that's fine.
Stevenage. Yeah. Yes, I've been. We have played Luton. I think we're coming back to the Luton Library Theatre. Would be the nearest place to Stevenage soon.
Yes, that's not
far, we're at the Bloomsbury Theatre in London at some point. I forget the date, but yes, hopefully those will be of service. Let me know. I'll hook you up. That'd be a pleasure to see you guys in real life, not through this Zoom nonsense.
Flesh. Yeah, in the flesh. That'd be good. Yeah, no, Luton is not far at all. That's like what? Half-hour drive now.
It's a stone's throw,
like Yes, a stone. I hate that term. Yes, I'm there now.
Stone's throw. Is it really a stone's throw? No, it's not.
No, it's not.
Maybe for the Hulk, but no, it's a stone's throw.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Will, MC Hammersmith, for joining us on the Dan and Kev Show. This will be up on Spotify and YouTube in the coming week or so. as well, and we'll link you up with people on TikTok as well, because there's a TikTok account of the Dan and Kev Show as well. So we can put little mini clips on there and things. So if you're on there, do follow us. It's at Dan and Kev Show on all platforms. So simple, so lovely. Just like MC Hammersmith. MC Hammersmith at MC Hammersmith. So easy.
That's me.
So
Simple
humble.
and lovely. Cheers.
Simple and lovely.
Simple and lovely. But it's been a
Yes.
pleasure. And do you know what? It's gone far too quick.
It's flown by. Thank you guys. What a lovely chat. Thank you guys so much. What a pleasure.
We'll get you back on another point, definitely. And hopefully we'll see you in the not too distant future in person, which would be great.
Indeed. Genuine pleasure.
Take care, MC Hammersmith,
Thanks a lot,
and
Will.
everyone else. Thanks very much. Take care.
Say, kids, what time is it?
You've been listening to the Dan and Kev Show. Treating your ears.